All right, what up, what up? Hey, listen, man, we back, and this is going to be the first episode of Freewenow till it's backwards.
Till it's backwards.
We changed the name, so the first name was what?
Group chat.
And then, you know, it was kind of, I don't know, it just didn't fit where we were going right now. So that was where we started, right? Then Keith went on deployment.
I'm home now.
He home now. And then while he was gone, I played with the idea of changing it to gifted, like using your gifts and the difference between gifts and purpose and how to combine them to get to your destiny. But now I think this is what we rock with now. It's called Freewenow till it's backwards. Now we free. Okay? So welcome to the podcast, man. This podcast is gonna be me and my best friend, my brother Keith, talking about everything to get you free. Alright? That's from working out, that's from mentality, mental stuff, emotional therapy, that's from finances, that's from job, financial literacy, all from top to bottom, anything to get you free. All right, and it's, you know, ironic that we're starting this right on Juneteenth, and look up the whole purpose and origination of Juneteenth. All right, so today is going to be me interviewing Keith coming back from deployment and everything that he has learned from deployment. Well, not everything, but a few nuggets and takeaways that he's learned from deployment and how he's better from it. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go, man.
Let's rock out. Anything you want to say to the people?
Hey, man, as always, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram, Chief Gilmore on Instagram. Call me Sweat on Twitter.
For sure. All right. So the first one we're going to talk about is growth and change.
Woo.
Right? Like, so these are topics also that he gave to me that he wanted to talk about, right? He was taking notes his whole deployment, which I think is good. When we're going through tough times, I think you even said this too, like you're being more aware of writing things down. You feel me? And like no one knows, it's a way to kind of like use it as therapy, to grow from it, to learn from it. So kudos to you for even writing it down. So we'll have something to talk about when we got back. But so yeah, growth and change, man. Like what was it like and how have you grown from going through that experience?
So, man, honestly, it was an up and down experience. You know what I'm saying? When I first found out we was going on deployment, of course I was excited. Yeah. I got to go visit these different countries, view these different cultures, meet new people, do something I've never done in my life. So, you know, having that new experience is always something exciting to deal with. But, you know, as you go further into deployment and the time passes and you're on a ship, right? You're on a ship in the middle of the ocean with nobody around, not seeing other ships or other people besides the people on your ship for months, weeks, or whatever, however long at time, you start to have more time to reflect on who you are and what you do. So one of the things that I grew on, you know what I'm saying, is my individuality. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you see yourself based off of who you're with, who you're hanging with, and how things are going in your life, right? And then when you're stuck in this metal tin can, seeing the same people, seeing the same walls, sleeping in the same bed, wearing the same clothes every single day, you have to find some other way to grow than what your actual physical identity is at that point. So one thing I started to do more was start to read different books and stuff like that. And as you alluded to earlier, I started to write things out, right? So one of the most important things to me in my life is my voice, right? And though I feel in some ways it's silenced, you know what I'm saying, being on deployment made me find that voice. So I started to write these different ideas down, started to write things that I was feeling down, and you know, started to express myself in a different way. So I grew on what my faults were and what my strengths were. So that was just a little portion I got to grow in my life doing those different things.
So speak on your voice, bro. Like where did you come to, or what happened to make you realize, hey, not only do I have a voice, but people are looking to hear from me. They're looking to hear my voice. Like, what was that change where it was like, okay, not only do I know this is one of my gifts, like people are searching for they want to hear my gift. You know what I mean? What was that like made you break through?
So one of the things that I always think is important in life, that I've kind of always had the gift of gab. So I've been able to make certain things sound better, you know what I'm saying? Especially when it's something that I feel, especially when it's something important to me. So on the ship, definitely we have these different celebrations, whether it's for, as we're on right now, Juneteenth, Martin Luther King History Day, you know what I'm saying, different cultures days. They try to bring that in because, of course, being on the ship, it's a big melting pot, right? There's so many different cultures and people. Right. And when you're so far at home, you got to have those different breaks from what you're doing right now, so those celebrations. So, of course, just being one of the few black officers on my ship, when it came to like Black History Month or Juneteenth or black events, they wanted me to speak, you know what I'm saying, just because I was black, not knowing that I had something more to say, right? So what I would do is I would write my own speeches down and then, of course, present those at the events. And at first, you know what I'm saying, when I wrote it, I felt it, right? You know what I'm saying? But I didn't know if anybody else was going to feel it.
Right, they gonna feel me.
I didn't know if anybody was going to say, but it got to the point that I spoke at multiple events and people would come up to me afterward and was like, yo, like, did you get that from somewhere? And I was like, nah, I wrote all this down myself. And they were like, yo, like, what you were saying, like, I felt, you know what I'm saying? I felt the passion, I felt the pain, I felt the joy in what you were speaking to me, and it's something that I would love to hear more. So I kind of was like, all right, let me take a step back and check it out and see if this is something I can truly give into.
That's deep. That's deep. I think a lot of times, bro, all right, so, and you know, when we get talking, we're going to try to hit all these topics. All right, so let me just give you the topics first, because we may go off on a tangent. Growth and change, the little things matter, okay? Family has a different meaning, the ones that you're born with and the ones that you create, right? And hard times don't last, but real people do. So hopefully we can get it all through there. If not, we'll just make a part 2 and y'all can get it that way. But, okay, so you mentioned a good thing, man. It's basically like, in a way, bro, deployment helped you slow down. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I think the pandemic helped this with the civilian world, or like us being, you know, in the military, we were still going. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there was a pandemic, but like, we were still working. So I think deployment for you, bro, kind of like help you slow down, right? Like, and I think a lot of times in our lives, bro, we kind of get caught up in just a daily life that we don't slow down and have a chance to figure out our gifts. You know what I'm saying? So like, deployment really allowed you some solitude, bro, to kind of like figure out who you are and dig deep to reach for that creativity. And I think you mentioned, like, bro, like, deployment is a grind.
Yeah, it is.
It's a grind. So, like, a lot of times our creativity comes through at its purest form where we're, I don't want to say at the bottom, but like when we're chasing something, when we're grinding, we're going through stuff. So I think that's a bar for everybody else, is like, find your creativity and find your gifts. You have to slow down and dig deep when you're in that grind. Like, take some time away. Like, you was kind of unplugged. Yeah. You feel me? Like, you're not going to find your gifts watching Netflix every day. You feel me? Like, you're not going to find your gifts, you know what I'm saying, at every party, at every event, on every weekend you out at the club, every weekend you at the bar. You meet every social event. You on the phone all the time with somebody else. And you know, so you on Twitter and Instagram so much that you know more about another person than you know about yourself. You feel me? Like, you can tell me everything about your favorite rapper, favorite celebrity, favorite athlete, what they was born with, they like, what they don't like. You know what I'm saying? These social media influencers, YouTubers from top to bottom. But then I ask you what you like. You're like, I don't know. I don't know.
Ain't got no real answer.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have no real answer. So kudos to you for even doing that on deployment. You know what I mean? Because some people can go left and get out in left field and lose it. And then you can also kind of like dig deep and find your gifts. So what made you, I guess, also the second part of that too is you was aware. You know what I'm saying? So like, you can be doing this and have a great speech and you can just be like, oh, it was just a great day, I had a great time. But like, you were aware of the fact that like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might have something here. You feel me? Like, this might be something that just comes to me naturally and comes to me easy. Mm-hmm. Okay, so like, growing from learning yourself, finding that individuality, like, what are you doing now, I guess, as the change piece to, like, change how you operate on a daily basis? And, like, how do you carry yourself? And, like, what are you doing now differently due to that self-development and self-growth that you had on deployment?
So one thing I also learned is being on deployment, it put me into this thing. I realized that I didn't have my own personal routine. You know what I'm saying? On deployment, you got meetings at this time. You gotta go eat at this time. You gotta go do this time. You have to find work ways to work out and do all that stuff. So you have to build a routine that becomes consistent, right? And I realized that I didn't have my own personal routine at home. So I would get up and kind of like walk.
That's a bar. Keep your thought. That's a bar. Look, I was reading a book and they said the success is in your habits. You feel me? The success is in the routine. It's not necessarily that this person is better than you and that person is better than you. It's just like, they got a routine, bro. Like, every day they're doing this at this time, they're doing that at that time. I was watching Eric Thomas, right? and you know what I'm saying, you know, Eric Thomas be getting into it. So he was like, yo, like, it was exam time, right? It was like the holiday period and it's exam time. He was like, y'all need to get on the phone and tell people on your voicemail, call me back on January 1st. Or call me back after whatever date is after your exams because I'm locking in right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta, like, it's in your routine, bro. So, like, that's a huge bar. And I don't want them to miss that. You feel me? Like, put whatever you're doing, stop and, like, listen, bro. Like, it's in your routine, bro. It's in your habits. You can have all the talent in the world. But if you don't have no routine, if you just wake up and, like, what you doing today? I don't know. I'll probably, you know, whatever happens, happens. But you gonna whatever happens and happen till ain't nothing happening, and you gonna be at home wondering what happened, cause you ain't did nothing. You know what I'm saying? So like now we was just talking about this outside of this podcast. We was like, bro, we gotta have a routine. You know what I'm saying? We know what we doing when we wake up, going to work, outside of work, on lunch break. Like this is my time period to take calls. This is my time period to do emails. This is my time period to go work out. This is my time to rest. I don't want to do nothing else right now. This block of chunk of time, I'm just gonna rest. You feel me? So keep going.
Yeah, man, like I was saying, like building a routine. So one thing I'm starting to realize, you know what I'm saying, I ain't old yet, but I'm getting older, right? And, you know, certain things don't agree with my body, certain movements, certain food, all that stuff, right? I'm waking up, getting out of bed, and I'm hearing cracks that I ain't never felt before or heard before, right? So one thing I've been trying to do is build a stretching routine in the morning, like wake up, go into stretching, make sure I go wash my face, you know what I'm saying, get my shower knocked out, you know what I'm saying, go work out early in the morning, then go from work to the job, come back, make sure that I check emails at a time throughout the day, that I go communicate with my friends and family time throughout the day, but I also build in that solitude time for myself, you know what I'm saying, to get into my mental, write things down, express myself, you know what I'm saying, so I'm trying to slowly work into my way to building not only a good routine, but a realistic one. So a lot of times, I found out about myself is I like to go high and left, right? When I'm trying to make a change, I want that change right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to be the most ripped, swollest person in the world. You know, I'm about to go bench 500 pounds right now.
Right now.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not realistic, right? So when you don't build realistic goals or you don't build a realistic routine, you fall out of it every single time, right? And then weeks and months down the road, you're looking at people who may have that routine. And you're like, damn, like, they was in my same position same months ago, but now they're succeeding. Why am I still stuck here, right? So it's building something that's realistic and something that you can actually achieve and attain, right? And then when you do that, build another goal, build another routine, build something more into that until you know what I'm saying, like we said, until it's backwards.
Till it's backwards. Free weed now till it's backwards. Listen, don't let that fly over your head. Free weed now till it's backwards, meaning now we free, right? Like we got this, like, you know, we call it this, street culture, free such and such, free my cousin till it's backwards, right? To your cousin free, right? But we're going to flip this on our head and we're going to say, use it in a positive way, free we now till it's backwards, till now we free. Okay, cool. So this is a routine, right? Like not just build a routine, but build a realistic routine, right? And we're saying a realistic routine, not necessarily having a realistic vision to where it's like, oh, I can't accomplish this, I can't chase my goal, my dreams, I need to build something realistic. But no, like, if that is your dream to be that high or whatever it is, I want to be the greatest XYZ, cool. But now you need to build a realistic routine to inch your way step by step to get to that. You feel me? Like you got to write it. It's power in writing it down. You feel me? As long, like, I don't know what it is, bro, but like when you write something down, it just stick more.
It becomes real.
You know what I'm saying? Like it just, like if people can say, oh, I see it in my head, or I think about it, or I typed it. Bro, even typing it ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can type something up, even like write down this on my phone, right? Like, if I was to like actually write it down, I don't know. It's just different. I can't explain it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a whole lot different, bro. So the routine is huge. And so we got the growth, him finding himself, right? Digging deep into himself and finding his individuality. And now we have the routine from growing from that. That's the change. So you got to have growth and change. What'd you say earlier to like?
So you got to have growth and change. So with growth comes change. And if you have people in your life that don't allow you to grow, then the change is their importance in your life.
So, okay, so I guess, how do you view relationships now? So like, you know, you mentioned that you were, basically, bro, you were away from your family, you were away from your friends. Like, we'll call it the little things that matter, right? The little things do matter. So like, what are those little things, and specifically in your relationships and how you approach relationships now. What has changed about that?
So one of the things that I realize is the importance in communication, whether it's sparingly, whether it's bi-yearly, whatever, the importance of having those communications with the people that you love, because I went from a point to having the ability to call people or talk to people whenever I wanted to not being able to communicate regularly, right? And then when I had the opportunity to commute whenever I wanted to, I didn't take all those opportunities to communicate with them. Like I didn't pick up the phone randomly, call my mom, my dad, people like that. Like I talked to them, you know what I'm saying, on a bi-weekly basis, right?
Yeah.
And though some families are built like that, you know what I'm saying, when I went on deployment and I didn't have the opportunity, I felt myself yearning more to communicate with them. I felt myself yearning more to build those relationships, right? And then I would come back in port and I would see my friends in my group chats and, you know what I'm saying, people having kids, people doing this, people, you know what I'm saying, got new promotions, people got new houses, new cars, and I felt so separated from it, right? But when I had the opportunity back home, I didn't take it. So now that showed me the importance of you may have one thing now, and then the next moment, it's all gone, right? And if you don't take the opportunities to build on it and to accept it and appreciate it, when you don't have it, that's when you start to realize that.
Hey, man, listen up, right? Okay, I don't know who needed to hear that message, but I want to amplify that message, right? Like, a lot of times in our life, we think that experience is the best teacher. I don't think that. I think somebody else's experiences can be an even better teacher, right? Like, you don't have to go through something for you to learn it, right? Like, people's like, oh, you know, experience is the best way I learn. Not for me. Y'all can say that. That's why mentorship is so important, because your mentor can teach you things that you didn't know to help you from preventing the same mistakes that they made and get you and have you collapse time, right? So what Keith is saying right now is you don't have to. Okay, let me back up. He treats his relationship with his family and his friends with more importance and a sense of urgency now, right? Like he's not missing opportunities. So if you're listening to this, don't miss those opportunities to connect with your people, whoever it is, right? Like, you know, you got your people in your life that you value and they value you. Don't say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Don't put that off, right? Like, because you don't need a tragedy in your life to happen for you to be like, man, you know what, man, I'm not going to do it. Man, I should have called them. Man, I should have texted them. Man, I should have told them Happy Father's Day. Man, I should have told them Happy Birthday. Like, no, if you're watching this right now, let's stop. You know how it is, especially in the black community, bro. When do we get together? Funerals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all or something negative, something tragic happened. And now everybody's like, oh, we get together, right? And then when we get together, I was like, oh man, like we gotta stop doing this. Like I gotta see you, I missed y'all, like you know what I mean? And then whatever the tragic event wrap up, and then it's like, oh, it's back to normal. You feel me? So like, don't miss that bar, bro. Like, if you're listening right now and you watching us, use this experience that was not a tragic event, it wasn't negative, to help your life. All right, like let's stop having to go through so many tragedies and then talking about, well, I guess God took me through it to teach me something. No, he didn't. You just weren't paying attention to the other times he tried to do that and prevent that from happening. Like everything, don't quit putting that on God. Okay? I don't even know why I'm ranting right now, but you got me ranting. You feel me? Like, stop putting everything on God. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, God took me through this to show me. No, he didn't. Because you didn't listen when the other thing happened. Or when your friend told you about something else. Or when you saw something. Like, no. So now if you hear this now, you got no excuse. At this point, you just need to take that L in the chin and say, that's my bad. After this podcast. Okay, what else, bro? Little things that matter. What are the little things that you cherish now?
So little things, you know what I'm saying, on a less serious note, bro.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? As I said before, having your individuality. So in the military, you wake up, you wear coveralls, right? You wear boots, you wear a uniform. And when you're living on the ship, that's what you wear every single day, right? The only thing that changed was my drawers and my socks. And you know what I'm saying?
We
my
hope
shirts.
that changed.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing that changed, right?
Yeah.
But I was wearing the same uniform over and over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now that I'm back home, having the ability to put on regular shoes, having the ability to put on flip-flops instead of boots, you know what I'm saying? Having the ability to wear a white shirt instead of a brown shirt. Having the ability to wear a black jumpsuit instead of blue coveralls, you know what I'm saying? Having the ability to rock my hair out and wear whatever hat I want instead of wearing, you know, the standard issue. So like, it's the little things, like, and then being on the ship, right? You got so many different people that lived on the ship, right? Yeah, it's your home at that point, but it's like you didn't clean the house, like you didn't clean the home like it's your own. So like, being able to take a shower without shoes on, bro. Like I had to rock flip flops in the shower all the time, bro.
Yeah.
I used to touch the curtain, bro.
Yeah.
And have to rewash my whole body, bro. Like I get a little swipe, but you know what I'm saying? Like those little things that you don't get to experience, right?
Yeah.
Having the ability to watch whatever I wanted on TV, right? Having the ability to be in control of the channel. Having the ability to select what I wanted to eat that day. You got standard days. Every Tuesdays is tacos. Every Wednesdays burgers.
Yeah.
Like you know what's coming, right? You know what I'm saying? But having that ability to be like, you know what? I don't want tacos on Tuesday.
I don't care that
I don't
it's
want
Tuesday.
tacos
I
on
don't want
Tuesday.
them.
I want some soup or something. I would have took soup. You know what I'm saying? But having that, like, those little things start to come up, right? And there's probably loads more that I can talk about, but like when you're in an experience where you don't get the same options that you usually do, you start to realize the small things add up.
For sure. Gotta appreciate the little things, man. Like, so you mentioned it being your home. So you basically had to develop, bro, a family, bro, like on the ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you going through this grind and these struggles and ups and downs and missing your blood family back home and friends. So tell me the difference of, I guess the family that you're born with and then the family that you kind of create.
Yeah, so and touching on that note, right? You're born with your family, right? Your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters, grandmas, auntie, whoever it is, right? And people tell you that you have to love them, right? Like no matter what you go through, like they're your blood, so you have this innate ability or this innate want to love them no matter what they go through, right? But then you build a family where you get to choose who they are, right? You get to choose not essentially how their attitudes, but to accept how their attitudes are, to accept who they are, you know what I'm saying? To accept building with them, to accept wanting more with them, right? You get to build that, right? And then being on a ship in the middle of the ocean, that is streamlined, bro. Like even like being at home on the same ship with the same people, right? You got the ability to go home and relax, right? To reset. But when you're sleeping in the room with the same person over and over, it's either you like them or you don't, right? You know what I'm saying? So I was able to build that family, though it was streamlined. I was able to build that family, right? You know what I'm saying? You kind of pick and choose who you want to vibe with every day like that, even though you see the same people over and over, right? But you build that trust into some people. Now, this is the person I'm going to hang out with when we pull into port. This is the person that when I'm going through some stuff, I'm going to find them on the ship so I can chop it up with them. This is the person that when their success happens, I'm just as excited when my success happens, right? Like I'm going to every event that they doing on the ship, or I'm finding them during lunch or dinner like, hey, bro, I need a vent or I need to chop it up with you, bro. Like you get happy to see those people, right? Because that's the family that you chose to build, right? The people that you want to bring in and the people that you make important in your life, not just because they're blood and you feel like you have to, but because you want them.
I got you. No, that's real. That's real. So I guess did you find it easier to create a family environment where you can't leave every day? You know what I mean? Like, is it easier or is it harder to create that family when you're seeing them all the time? And this is the person you got to stand watch with, and this is, almost in a sense, I guess it's a similarity because you don't choose your real family and you don't choose the people that's on your ship either. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, did you find it easier or harder to make those relationships just in the sense of, like, they were just there every day?
I feel like, in a sense, it was easier because the process was streamlined, right? So I like to believe that you don't truly know somebody until you've lived with them or you've been around them for a consistent amount of time over time, right? Yeah. Because you get to see the good and bad about them. You get to see the habits about them. You know what I'm saying? You get to see how they are when they're down, when they're up, when they're whatever, relaxing and stuff like that. So that process is streamlined when you're stuck on the ship with them, right? Like you say, you don't get to choose who's on your ship, but you do get to choose who you're going to be cool with, who you are cool with, right? Yeah. Because there's plenty of people prior to deployment, you know what I'm saying, that I rocked with heavy, like that I was hanging out with all the time and stuff like that. But then when I went on deployment, like some of them stayed true, but other ones you kind of move away from, right? Because you get to see who they are on that everyday basis. I said the process was streamlined because like they can't run away and go home. You don't get that reset because you are home every day, right? Yeah. So you get to see them every day. You get to make those adjustments. So I just think it was a little easier just because the process was streamlined instead of drawn out. Okay.
That's what's up. So that's interesting to see that you may even have people that y'all were close with and hung out all the time, and then you go on deployment and they kind of switch because you get to know a person. So again, this habit thing, this routine thing it's low-key seemed like a theme for the episode. Is like your habits can make you or they can break you. You know what I'm saying? Like your habits, knowing a person's habits tells you about them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like your success is just generate around your habits. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that you're choosing on the ship is based off the habits that you observe that they have.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So if you're trying to get to where you're trying to get to, or you're going through something and you're trying to build your family and create an environment of success and positivity, you got to watch people's habits.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, your habits tell you really everything you need to know about a person, right? So, okay, so hard times don't last, but real people do. Hard times don't last, but real people do. What does that quote mean for you?
So hard teams don't last, like, right? So of course, I feel like since I said it was an up and down experience, everything on deployment wasn't great, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, I've learned a lot, you know what I'm saying? But there were definitely harder times, you know what I'm saying, where I was feeling down, like I was feeling lonely in a sense of not like needing that genuine connection, but in a sense of like, damn, like I have nowhere to go but here, right? And you know what I'm saying? Most people may not admit it. There was a point in deployment where like I legit went in my room and I was like, hey, this is too much right now. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff I had going on the ship, the stuff I had going on mentally and personally and stuff like that. And you start to realize those are the points where people break, right? And I've never considered myself to be a person to like break down. I've always been able to hold it in and stuff like that. But at that time I gave myself the opportunity to break down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? To kind of feel exactly, to see and feel exactly what I was going through, right? So when I say hard times don't last, like I went in my room, I gave myself that break and immediately stepped back into getting to work because I knew though I was going through something hard, like I had a job to do and my job doesn't focus, or what I'm doing didn't focus solely on me. It focused on keeping everybody on that ship protected. And if I was out of it, how could I make sure that other people were good to go, right? And then real people, like you start to realize those genuine connections I made were the people that I could talk to, you know what I'm saying? I would pull my boys aside and be like, you know, hey, like, this is what I'm feeling right now, bro. Like, it's real hard for me. You know what I'm saying? And it was, I think it was concerning, but it was freeing to understand that some of them had those same emotions, right? That some of them had the same breaking point, or some of them were like, yo, I'm about to snap right now too. Like it's a lot going on, but it made me realize that you're not the only one that goes through hard shit. And then when you can talk to other people and they have some type of background or experience with that, it makes you feel better as a person. You're like, whoa, like I got somebody else who's going through it, who's working through it as well, and somebody I can rely on that I can talk to about these different things. Because, you know what I'm saying, in general, growing up as a man, like you're told not to express those certain emotions, right? And then when you start doing it, depending on who you do it to or with, you may get judged for that. Like they don't accept that expression. They like, man, you acting like a little, you know, you acting like a little bitch or whatever, right? And that's not a great feeling, right? But when you got people that are in the same circumstances you, that allow you to have that friend, you realize that the hard times you're going through don't last because the people that are there for you do.
Yeah, no, I think that was a powerful statement, bro, because it was a lot of parallels to like real life and what you were feeling on deployment. You know what I mean? Like, I think especially as like black males and males in general, we have a job, you know, in like an innate sense to like provide and protect. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times we feel the weight of everybody else around us because we feel like we're the glue.
Yeah.
We feel like we're the people that have to hold it together, the people that has to like, if anybody else break, that's cool, but I can't break. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
You know what I mean? And you had a huge role. You had a huge role in the ship. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like, I think I saw this on social media. They were talking about like pray for like your strong friends too, because you had to be the strong one on the ship. You had to be the strong one in your life, right? Like a lot of times people dump all of their problems on you. So it may look like a 30-minute vent session from somebody, and then your homie hits you up and is like, man, you won't believe this. And then your boss or your supervisor or, you know what I'm saying, your coworker, right? They dumping their problems on you, whatever. Before you know it, you know what I'm saying, you like, I got stuff going on too.
My whole day gone because everybody else.
Right. And they zapping you. You know what I mean? So for you to allow yourself to like, the opportunity to be like, look, I am going through this. This is how I feel. And it's okay to feel like this. Like anybody in my situation would feel like this. So like, let me get this quick minute to like, you know, address that and get it off. And then now you can actually go back and plug in and do your job and do your role, what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I think, especially it is, you know, Father's Day as well. So, you know,
shout out you pops.
Yeah, shout out my pops as well. Love you. You know what I mean? I think our fathers I was blessed to have a dope father.
Same.
You feel me? So I realized that it's strength in showing emotion.
Yeah.
It's strength in being human. It's strength in saying, like you said, you realize that now a couple other people feeling the same way you do. So now you sharing that has brought all of y'all closer. You know what I mean? And now y'all have a little bit more energy to move forward because you're like, okay, I ain't the only one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the only, like that connection, bro, like to people, like you gotta be connected, bro.
Most
like,
definitely.
I know sometimes people be like, oh man, I just be chilling, I just be ducking off, I just be to myself and alone. That's cool, but like, even in that, you still gotta have a connection with a couple people, you know what I'm saying, whoever it is, to where you can like plug into and be like, listen, I'm going through this. You know what I'm saying? Or, hey, I need to vent. Or guess what happened, bro? Like, man is not meant to be alone. You know what I'm saying? So like, you gotta connect with people, and you know what I'm saying, you get through hard times with the real people.
Yeah, most definitely.
Like sometimes the hardest times make the best memories,
best,
low-key.
yeah, best
You know what I'm
friends,
saying?
best memories,
best friends, best
everything.
memories.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it just heightens your growth as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you can connect and get through hard times with real people. You know what I mean? So I guess learning all of this, right? And we'll do a couple more episodes where we kind of lock in on one topic. But what is like a quote or like a lasting, you know, statement of wisdom that you would like to give to people just based on your experiences and what you learn, and like you know, a takeaway that they can grab, you know what I'm saying, from everything that you like experienced and went through, grown from, and how you're implementing it now.
Yeah. So, you know, earlier I said the growth and change thing, but one thing I wanna touch on is that in life, you yourself should be the most important person, and that's what anything you do. Whether it's talking to your family, friends, and everything, you have to put yourself as the priority, because if you don't take care of yourself, there's no way possible you could take care of anybody else, right? So that's what I'm gonna leave you with. You know what I'm saying? Make yourself the priority in every sense of the word. Make yourself the priority.
Yeah. And they said the first law of nature is self-preservation. So, hey man, anything else we need to hit on?
Nah, man, I'm just happy to be back. I'm telling y'all right now, it feels so good to step on land, bro.
For sure, man. Glad you're back, bro. And we got a lot more coming for y'all, man. We're gonna be a lot more consistent because we didn't, you know what I'm saying, we was kind of popcorning around, you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, tap in with us. The Freewenow podcast till it's backwards. You feel me? Till it's backwards. And, hey, appreciate y'all tuning in. If you do have a topic that you would like for us to touch on, like DM us and send it to us, and then we'll talk about it.
We'll get right.
We'll get right with you. And this is kind of like a serious one. You feel me? Because we had a lot of gems to give, but they will not always be this serious, right?
We're going to get some jokes off.
I'm telling you. We're going to have fun.
Now.
Right. Yeah, so follow me at Hosta1 on all platforms.
Like I said, Chief Gilmore on IG. Call me Sweat on Twitter.
Freewenow. We out.